على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear brothers and sisters, all praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We praise Him, we rely on Him, we seek His forgiveness, and we ask Him to shield us against the evils of our souls and to cleanse us from the sins of our very own actions. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, no one shall be able to misguide. And whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves astray, no one shall be able to guide. I testify that there is no other deity except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I testify that Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is the final prophet, and the submission to his will, submission to his commands, submission to what he wants from you, so that when death catches you, you're in a state of submission to his will. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also reminds us in the Quran, and He says, O you people, fear your Lord, who created you from one soul. And from that soul, He created its mate. And from both of them, He dispersed so many men and women. And fear Allah through whom you interact with each other. And respect the rights of the next of kin. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon you is the ultimate observer. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also reminds us in the Quran, and He says, O you who believe, or O you who have believed, fear Allah and only speak righteousness, so that He may reform your deeds and forgive your sins. For whosoever obeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger has definitely achieved a great achievement. My dear brothers and sisters, a very good reminder every week we learn about is that the most truthful of all words is the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the best guidance is the guidance of Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam. And the worst matters in deen are heresies and introductions of new practices in deen that we don't learn from the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam or those who followed in his footsteps. All these heresies lead to misguidance, and misguidance leads to the fire of hell. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the Quran, usually the word huda is associated with that description, guidance. For example, in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This book in which there is no doubt, indeed there is guidance for those who are conscious of God. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about the month of Ramadan, He said, شَهْرُ رَمَضَانَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنُ هُدًى لِلنَّاسِ. It is the month in which the Quran was revealed as guidance for the people. So, we Muslims extract our guidance from the Quran. We extract our guidance from the Quran. We listen to the Quran, we read the lessons of the Quran, and we extract our guidance from that book. And this needs a particular type of person to do this. Not everybody's going to read the verses of the Quran and be able to extract the lesson. Some things are very clear. Some things in the Quran are very clear. For example, if it says, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, say, He is Allah the One, or the Whole. This is very clear. Anybody can understand this statement. But there are some lessons and some anecdotes and some hidden treasures in the Quran that you definitely need someone who's a scholar or a seeker of knowledge or someone who's more knowledgeable than you to give you the point of this lesson. And sometimes these lessons are very subtle. They're very subtle. They're not easy to understand and easy to figure out. So today I want to share with you something that is very important, and I think it's, at least with me in my personal life, it's very common, that we learn from the Quran. So many times we get asked the question of, what are my rights in Islam? What are my rights? Do I have any rights? I get asked this question a lot, especially by non-Muslims who are seeking, they're looking for the truth. They're looking for some guidance in their lives. And they ask this question, what are my rights? What are my rights as a wife? Do I have any rights in Islam as a wife? Do I have any rights as a husband? Do I have any rights as a child? Does Islam give me any rights as an Arab, or as a Caucasian person, or as an African American? What are the rights of minorities? What are my rights? What are your rights? You've been Muslim for this, for this long or whatever. Do you have any rights? Has Islam given you your rights? These questions about rights, we hear a lot. And it's definitely an important question. But I have a few comments to make about the people that ask this type of question. So this way, perhaps if somebody asks you this in the future, you would know how to respond. The first comment is, if you're focused on this life, if you are focused on this life, then it's very important for you to know that you're not going to get everything you deserve in this life. This life is not supposed to be the life where you get everything you have planned for. The wife of your dreams, the husband of your dreams, the job of your dreams, the life in general of your dreams. This does not exist in Islam. Perhaps it does in the American dream, or Australian dream, or Egyptian dream, or some of these other dreams. But in Islam, you don't get everything that you ask for. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about this life that this life is nothing but a test. It is a test. And He says this multiple times. You cannot hide from the fact that this life is a test, and it's not going to give you everything you're looking for. You cannot hide this fact in the Quran. All over the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ankabut, أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do people think that they will be led to say, we believe, without them being tested or tried? وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّا الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. For indeed we have tried those before them. فَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا وَلَا يَعْلَمَنَّ الْكَاذِبِينَ. So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will demonstrate those that are truthful about their faith and those that are lying. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Mulk, تبارك الذي بيده الملك. Exalted is the one in whose hands are the ownership of all things. وهو على كل شيء قدير. And over everything is competent. الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. The one who created death and life in order to test you which one has the best deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Kahf, إِنَّا جَعَلْنَا مَا عَلَى الْأَرْضِ زِينَةً لَهَا لِنَبْلُوَهُمْ أَيُّهُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. We have created everything on the face of this earth as an adornment, as an attraction, in order for us to test them and see which one of them has the best action. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala swears in Surah Al-Baqarah and confirms saying, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين. We will test you. We will definitely, most assuredly test you with a little bit of fear and hunger and a few other things that God will test you with. He will test you so that He can demonstrate if you have strong faith in God. If you're going to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the soonest and the easiest way, if you're going to have the weakest faith, if you're going to make an excuse to disobey God, and if that excuse is going to be ready on your tongue very quickly to say, you know, this time I did this because of this, or I did it because of that. So this life is nothing but a test. So those people that are always asking, what is my rights? What are my rights? They get into this dangerous area of mixing between what is rightfully theirs in Islam and what is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless them with. They're confused between what is rightfully theirs in Islam and what is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to bless them with. What is an extra? What is a bonus? Because they're basically still a little bit self-centered. They're still asking, what's in it for me? What am I getting out of this? What am I getting from Islam? So they're into this area. They're still a little bit confused. What's the thing that Islam is supposed to make your life smooth? You have excellent credit. You have a lot of followers. You have a huge reputation. You're famous. You're loved. You have a lot of money. This is not the point of Islam. Islam is the religion that will save you on the day of judgment. Islam is the religion that will save you from the fire of hell. Does that mean it guarantees you a wonderful life on this earth? The answer is no. Very, very, very firm no. It is not going to happen. Because God will test you. And by that means, He will try you. He will make your life harder. He will make it very hard for you to have a beard. He will make it very hard for you to wear your hijab. He will make it very hard for you to not steal anybody's money, to be an honest person with integrity. He will make it very hard for you to go out in public and pray in the middle of people or in the center of some people who hate Islam. He will make it very hard for you to say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Because this is the point of this life. It's a test. Just like all the prophets and messengers were tested before us, and all the good people, that means we all will be tested. So if you're expecting goodness and prosperity in this life, it may not necessarily happen for you. So make sure when somebody asks you this question, and make sure you yourself understand this concept, so that you don't cause somebody to have very high expectations when they become Muslim, and then when they don't meet their expectations, they bounce back out of Islam. They say, Islam did not add anything to my life here on earth. It is not supposed to make you rich. It is not supposed to make you famous. It is not supposed to even make you popular. It is supposed to save you from the fire of hell, though. And that is what's important. Now, and instead of asking what are my rights in Islam, now this is the second comment you tell this person. So the first comment is you tell him, look, you're looking for a lot, you're self-centered, I can see you're looking for what's in it for you, and you tell him what I just told you. There may not be much. I can give you the guidance of Islam. I don't guarantee it's going to make you achieve your dreams in this life. And the second thing you tell this person who's asking you that question is, perhaps before asking about your rights, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created you, didn't He? He gave you life. He gave you whatever you have. Hearing. He gave you your ability to see. He gave you the ability to breathe. Some things we take for granted. There are some people right now as we speak that are lying on hospital beds that cannot breathe normally. They need a medical device in order for them to simply breathe. But God gave you these things. He gave you so many things if you focus on each one of them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تَحْصُوهَا. If you ever think about one of the blessings that God has given you, you'll never be able to understand how big that blessing is. Ever. So perhaps before thinking about what your rights are in Islam, the first thing you should ask yourself what your duties are. God has given you a lot of things already. Don't ask Him for too much. Don't ask for things that may not even be yours. Perhaps the better question to ask is, what are my duties in Islam? How do I serve God in this life? Because remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created jinn and humans except for the purpose of worship. And worship means obedience. The first thing that comes to your head when somebody says, imagine there's a couple walking down the street and somebody points to them and says, that man is the master of this other man. That one is his slave. The first image that pops in your head when you hear this master-slave relationship is somebody has to obey the other person the whole time. They don't have the option of disobedience. As soon as somebody says master-slave, as soon as somebody uses these words, you think immediately that one person is constantly in obedience of the other one. And this is the relationship we have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's constantly the master, we are constantly the slave. It will never change. So obeying God is not an option for you. It is not a choice that you make. You have to obey God all the time by virtue of the words La ilaha illallah. There is no other God except Allah. You're not your own God to obey your desires. Your father is not your God to obey Him if He commands you to disobey Allah. Your wife is not your God. Your husband is not your God. Anybody asking you to disobey God should not be listened to. So, by virtue of the words La ilaha illallah, you declare that you are constantly a slave to God and that He is constantly your master. So, perhaps before asking what are my rights in Islam, you should ask, what are my duties? What am I supposed to be doing to show God that I obey Him? What am I supposed to be doing to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to serve my master? He made me a husband. He made me a wife. He made me a daughter to this person, or a son. He made me a student in this school. He made me a doctor. I'm an engineer. I'm a lawyer. I am a Muslim. Wherever I am in this life, I am a Muslim. So what am I supposed to do right now, right here, to show Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is my master and I am His slave? And this is a better question and a much more worthy question to ask yourself. I say this and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for forgiveness for me and you and for all Muslims. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فاستغفروه وتوبوا إليه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله وكفى وصلاة وسلاما على عباده الذين اصطفى ثم أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Peace and blessings be upon the Messenger of Allah. This is the first time that I do a second khutbah in this masjid, so I don't know what time I'm supposed to finish. Does anybody know? Because I don't want to keep it for too long if you have to go to work or something like that.
We're good. We're good.
You're good? What time am I supposed to finish?
There's no time, but they
Okay.
usually short, so.
You got time, okay. Okay. So, we're talking about the better question to ask than what is in this Islam, in this religion of Islam for me? What's in it for me? What am I getting out of this? And a better question to ask is, what are my duties? What am I supposed to do to serve God? If somebody is not giving you all your rights in Islam and that person is Muslim, imagine you're in a relationship, you have a husband or you have a wife, and you're not getting from them what you think in your head that you deserve, be patient with them if they're Muslim. You don't have to get exactly what you're expecting. But don't fall short on your own duties. The more important thing is do not fall short on your own duties, but don't ask for everything that you think you deserve in this life. Why? Because this is a wiser thing to do. Imagine if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most benevolent. He is the most generous. Don't you want to leave some of your rewards for the things you do in this life? Don't you want to leave them in the hands of God so that He can reward you when you see Him? Don't you want to be rewarded by the more generous one than the less generous one? When you ask for everything, or when you expect everything that you want in this life from creation like you, you're not going to get more than that creation is able to give. But imagine if you do some things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you remind yourself that I'm going to leave this particular deed until I see God on the Day of Judgment, and I'm confident He's going to reward me. Don't you think the reward given by a more generous person, don't you think that reward is going to be a better reward than a reward given by a less generous person? Can you imagine this? And this is the act and the guidance that we learn from all prophets and messengers. When you read the Quran, all of them say to their people, وَمَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِنْ أَجْرِيَ إِلَّا عَلَى اللَّهِ. I am not asking you a reward for this message that I give you, this goodness that I bring in your life, this guidance of Islam, this knowledge, this help. I'm not asking you for a reward. I'm not asking you for money. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا. Say, I do not ask you for money. I do not ask you for a reward. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward me. I'm expecting my reward from Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul will have a taste of death. وَإِنَّمَا تُوَفَّوْنَ أُجُورَكُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. And you surely will get your rewards only on the Day of Judgment. You surely will get your rewards only on the Day of Judgment. So this is the act, and this is the behavior, and this is the sunnah of the prophets and messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even in matters aside from da'wah. Because somebody may say something like, may argue something like, oh, you know, these prophets and messengers, their job was to promote this religion. Their job was to promote guidance, to deliver the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But even in other matters other than da'wah, other than promoting the message of Islam, even in regular matters. For example, on the day of Friday, the Prophet ﷺ advises us all to recite chapter 18 in the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf. And in Surah Al-Kahf, we learn the story of Dhul Qarnayn, this very good man that used to live nations before Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and he is the one that toured the earth. He took 3 trips, and he toured the earth, and he's the one who built a barrier between us and between the people of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And this is a big sign of the Day of Judgment, that the world end is near. The story of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. I don't have time to tell you the whole story. In other scriptures, you know, they're referred to as Gog and Magog. Gog and Magog, something like that. So, the story of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, what we know about it is this very good man, one of the trips that he took, and this is in Surah Al-Kahf, one of the trips that he took, the tribe that he came about, he came onto them, he visited them, and they asked him to build a barrier between them and between the people of Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And when they asked him, they said, can we assign you a reward? Can we assign you some kind of fee or some kind of compensation in order for you to build us a barrier between us and between the people of Ya'juj and Ma'juj? And what he said is, مَا مَكَّنِّي فِيهِ رَبِّي خَيْرٍ. Whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me is better. What God has given me is better than what you're going to give me. Anything you offer me, God has given me better. God has promised me better. He will reward me bigger. He will compensate me more generously. And this should be the attitude of every Muslim. You don't have to get exactly everything you're looking for all the time. But always remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching. And always remember to say to yourself, مَا مَكَّنِّي فِيهِ رَبِّي خَيْرٍ. And this is the saying of Dhul Qarnayn. Whatever God has given me is better than this. The guidance that He's given me, the promise of Jannah, the promise of His reward, anything that God has promised me is better than everything that you will promise me or that you will give me. And this is something that we learn from this great good man, Dhul Qarnayn. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase our knowledge about Islam and how to become better Muslims. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to empower us to benefit from this knowledge. As I said earlier, the Quran is a book of guidance. And extracting these knowledge, these lessons and this knowledge from the Quran, sometimes it's an easy task, sometimes it's not an easy task. But this is one of the things that we learn from the answer of Dhul Qarnayn in his story with the barrier of Ya'juj wa Ma'juj. That he said to them, what God gives me, what God has given me is better than everything that He will give me. What He promised me is better. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase our faith in Him in our hearts and to increase our certainty in His rewards and His results on the hereafter that He will deliver to us. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to increase our faith and to hold us steadfast on the religion of Islam during a time when it becomes harder and harder to be the best Muslim you can be. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us all steadfast in the application of justice and the application of truth, and to hold our hearts very, very stern and very firm on the path of those that are righteous, the path of submission to the will of God, the path of Islam. أقول قولي هذا وأسأل الله لي ولكم المغفرة والرحمة. اللهم أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام وانصر المسلمين. وارفع بقوتك كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم ارفع بقوتك وعزتك كلمة الحق والدين. اللهم ومن أراد بالإسلام والمسلمين شرا فاجعل تدميره في تدبيره ورد كيده في نحره واجعل دائرة السوء عليه يا رب العالمين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك وأنعم على سيدنا وشفيعنا وقدوتنا وحبيبنا محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. إن تنصروا الله ينصركم ويثبت أقدامكم وإن ينصركم الله فلا غالب لكم. فانصروا الله ينصركم وادعوه يستجب لكم واسألوه يعطكم واشكروه يزدكم. وسبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استووا واعتدلوا وسدوا الخلل. Straighten your lines. ساووا صفوفكم ولا تختلفوا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. ويسألونك عن ذي القرنين قل سأتلو عليكم منه ذكرا إنا مكنا له في الأرض وآتيناه من كل شيء سببا فأتبع سببا قال أما من ظلم فسوف نعذبه ثم يرد إلى ربه فيعذبه عذابا نكرا وأما من آمن وعمل صالحا فله جزاء الحسنى وسنقول له من أمرنا يسرا ثم أتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ مطلع الشمس وجدها تطلع على قوم لم نجعل لهم من دونها سترا كذلك وقد أحطنا بما لديه خبرا ثم أتبع سببا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. ثم أتبع سببا حتى إذا بلغ بين السدين وجد من دونهما قوما لا يكادون يفقهون قولا قالوا يا ذا القرنين إن يأجوج ومأجوج مفسدون في الأرض فهل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا قال ما مكني فيه ربي خير قال ما مكني فيه ربي خير فأعينوني بقوة أجعل بينكم وبينهم ردما آتوني زبر الحديد حتى إذا ساوى بين الصدفين قال انفخوا حتى إذا جعله نارا قال آتوني أفرغ عليه قطرا فما استطاعوا أن يظهروه وما استطاعوا له نقبا قال هذا رحمة من ربي فإذا جاء وعد ربي جعله دكاء وكان وعد ربي حقا وتركنا بعضهم يومئذ يموج في بعض ونفخ في الصور فجمعناهم جمعا وعرضنا جهنم يومئذ للكافرين عرضا الذين كانت أعينهم في غطاء عن ذكري وكانوا لا يستطيعون سمعا أفحسب الذين كفروا أن يتخذوا عبادي من دوني أولياء إنا أعتدنا جهنم للكافرين نزلا قل هل ننبئكم بالأخسرين أعمالا الذين ضل سعيهم في الحياة الدنيا وهم يحسبون أنهم يحسنون صنعا أولئك الذين كفروا بآيات ربهم ولقائه فحبطت أعمالهم فلا نقيم لهم يوم القيامة وزنا إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات كانت لهم جنات الفردوس نزلا خالدين فيها لا يبغون عنها حولا. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
The management has asked me to make this announcement. Today is the last second Jummah. There will be no second Jummah beginning July. That is, there will be no second Jummah of Khutbah next one. Next Jummah, there will be no second Jummah. So please be advised. And there is a notice over here telling that there will be no second Jummah then next Friday. Thank you for listening.
So I did the last second.
Yeah, maybe you also please. This is the last one. There will be no Quran second Jummah next week. This is the last Jummah. No more. Second Jummah
All
next
the
week.
brothers guys. So alhamdulillah, today was the last second Jummah. So if you want to pray Jummah, starting next week, inshallah, you have to come to the earlier one. And
1:15.
yeah, 1:15. You have to be here. Try to be here before 1:15. Try to be here by 1, inshallah. And you can, there's always make more room outside. So inshallah, it'll happen. Jazakumullah.
What's up, bro? Assalamu alaikum. How you doing, bro? See you got a couple different masjids on your YouTube. You've been watching it a little bit.
Go around. How are you doing?
My mom actually seeing a change in me, and she's like, "Can you send me a Quran?"
Oh, really?
I sent her one, alhamdulillah. Sent her one, and I sent her a bunch of like dawah kit, like material, like pamphlets and stuff.
What do you mean you sent her? You don't see her?
No, she lives in Florida, so I sent it to her.
Ah, oh wow.
Yeah, so I sent it to her in the mail. But I got it from, the brother brought it in, a whole bunch, like this many, you know, like big box full, Qurans, like pamphlets that are like, oh, how Jesus brought me
So
to
you
Islam.
mailed her?
Yeah, I mailed it to her.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And she's reading it?
Yeah, actually last Friday she got it, and I was like, hey,
Mashallah.
you know, today is Friday, read Surah Al-Kahf. I was like,
Mashallah.
the cave, it's Surah 18. She's like, for you to know that, it's like impressive. And I was like, it's not. It's something we do every Friday. It's not
I
like
was gonna ask her, what do you mean when you said she saw the change in me?
Oh, yeah.
That probably means you had a
just
really
the way I,
drastic change.
just the way I talk to her and stuff, and like what she sees with my outlook on life now. You know, like how when I talk to her and I tell her like certain things. You know, I call her and everything's so bad, and I call her, alhamdulillah, you know, it's all right. You know, nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
At least we're here, you know. So, and I always tell her like even if she like we wouldn't argue, but we would have misunderstandings, and she would just be like, you're my son, I'm not gonna argue with you, you know, don't disrespect me. And I used to like try to like, I'm not, just stop. But now I'm like, all right, mom, I'm sorry, you know, like as a Muslim, I have to respect my parents and make sure that you feel respected, not just me feeling like I respect you, you have to feel respected.
Right.
So she's like, I really appreciate that. If that's what Islam teaches, you know, all these things that you've been telling me, then I want to know something about it. So inshallah, you know,
That would be great. That's what I had her.
it really would.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's 56.
Oh, she's young.
No, she's 58. 58.
Still young.
Yeah,
Yeah, mashallah. Do you ever go visit her?
I do. She comes out here too. We go back and forth.
When was the last time you guys saw each other?
November. It's been a while.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Maybe you should go visit her.
I should.
sometime soon, yeah. I think you should go and just spend some time with her and take her out. You know?
Yeah. Mom's very important for real.
But,
I don't have my father, so that's all. Most important person
Yeah.
right now.
So inshallah, may Allah's path ahead. How's everything on you?
I'm doing well.
Still
Been good.
working?
Yeah.
You're working in this job, are you still close and
Yeah.
stuff?
Still doing it pretty
Are
good
you,
actually.
are you not like going to school or anything?
No.
Are you planning on doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
You
want
want to go to Islamic school or you still want to travel
looked
abroad and do all these
I
things?
looked up that one, the online school.
Huh?
And it was